guys, we're going to go for a little bit of a drive, then I'm going to talk to you guys about the insane values of the Shelby GT350s and 350Rs, and I'm going to explain to you because I predicted this a number of years ago in a lot of my videos, and I told you these cars are going to shoot up, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what's going on with the automotive industry because I forecast the trends and I watch what's going on every single day, and it'll put it into a lot of perspective for anybody out there that's possibly looking to sell or someone that's looking to buy. But like I said, these cars are absolutely unique, one of a kind, and there's nothing out there that's going to give you this much of an analog experience in a modern package with good anti-lock brakes, airbags, crash protection, and all of that. You know, versus if you want to talk about like a vintage, very high dollar pro touring car, if you wanted to build something like that, that'll kind of give you the same visceral experience. It's going to cost you 3 times the price to build, and you're not going to get the creature comforts, and no matter what you do, you're still dealing with a car from the 1960s. So, like I said, if you guys have not been watching the market, whether you watch Barrett Jackson, you watch Meekum, you are on Bring a Trailer all day long at the office, things are going absolutely over the top with values in these cars. And it's something I wanted to talk to you guys about because I get emailed constantly like, hey, Phil, is it time to sell? I really want to buy one. And then I get a lot of guys that regret selling their 350s to buy, let's say, a Porsche GT3 Touring or a BMW M2 CS. And they're like, hey, I want to try to buy an R now, but the prices are like through the roof, that it's not even attainable to most people. But I'm going to put a lot of this into perspective in a little while. I'm going to get out. We're going to talk a little bit about, you know, what's going on with the market. But for the time being, I'll take you guys along for a little bit of a drive. And it's early in the morning right now. We still have traffic, so there's not much I could do about that. But nice day. I got up early, washed the car like around 8 a.m. And I'm like, you know what? Today's the day. I'm going to take this car out. I'm going to use this all day long and shoot a video. I haven't shot a GT350 video in a while. I mean, this thing is just incredible. $7 grand right there. It's just unbelievable. And then as you go into this little bank of a corner, my God, you just feel that front tire. This car's got such big tires in the front. And you just feel that front tire grip and pull you through that turn. Yeah, this car is incredible. That's why these cars are still in demand. That's why people that own Ferraris and Porsches and, you know, have high-end exotics still want to own a 350R. They still want to have this experience because they're not able to get that in some of those higher end cars, especially with the lack of the manual transmission. Got carbon fiber wheels. I mean, there's just so much about this package that Ford did right. I mean, could you just imagine if Ford had the opportunity to really take this thing to the next level with carbon fiber body panels, an aluminum monocoque structure, reducing the weight, aluminum subframes? Oh, this thing would be even better than what it is. But considering what we got in the current times, I mean, we got to be really thankful as car enthusiasts to have the opportunity to have one of these cars, because come 2030, these things are going to be as rare on the roads as pretty much any other sports car, because, you know, the governments around the world are pushing, you know, everybody into this EV environmental, you know, automakers. So Ford would definitely love to produce cars like this, but I don't think legally they're going to be able to do it with all the government regulations, not just government regulations in the United States. Now, this Mustang, the S550, when they developed it, this was the very first world Mustang, means that it was sold around the world, left-hand drive, right-hand drive, all different configurations. So when you're dealing with world governments and they're going to crunch the EV protocol a lot sooner and a lot stricter than the United States, that's going to put a damper on Ford Motor Company ever producing a car like this ever again. So for the time being, drive them. If you own it, get it out there, enjoy it, drive it. Don't worry about racking the miles on it. Like I said, you know, no matter what, if you take care of the car, no matter what the miles, you're still going to get a good return on investment. And that's what we're starting to see now with the current market trends of what's going on. But I mean, it's just incredible. The car is just incredible. That's all I could say. And I've been saying this when I started this channel, when I started the Auto Fanatic channel, I didn't start it to show you guys detailing cars or whatever. I started it specifically to discuss the ownership of the Shelby GT350. Why did I do that? Because a lot of my higher end clients that had the exotic cars, they bought it, they were complaining about the interior quality, the rattles, the noises. And I said to these guys, I'm like, you're missing the entire reason why you buy this car. And it was getting to the point where I was so tired of hearing it. And then I'm watching social media videos and YouTube commentators, ragging on this car. And it was just starting to bother me. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna create a channel. I'm gonna discuss the ownership of my red GT350. I'm gonna talk about why you buy it, why it's so special, and it really caters to a very certain audience, okay? These cars are not gonna cater to what I consider a mass audience because it's a little bit too raw, a little bit too rough around the edges. And, a lot of people don't really like that. But it takes a certain type of personality type. Somebody that is very sensory driven, somebody that's a little over the edge, somebody that thrives thrill and excitement and danger, a little bit. We're nuts. That's just what it is. If you like a car that's rowdy, it vibrates, the whole car shakes, it sounds like the engine's gonna explode and kill you, hey, you know what? You're kind of in this little cusp of a group of GT350 owners. And like I said, for what this car gives you, that visceral return, there's not many cars out there that are gonna do it. Now, there's a couple of cars, because I've been contemplating on selling mine because of my back injuries, and I don't drive this car as much as I would like to. The red car, I drove it every day. This car, unfortunately, I'm taking it out very limited because every time I go in it, I come out and I'm in pain for several days. So I was saying to myself, if I sell this car, you can't really go backwards. You gotta say, what are you gonna get? So a couple of cars that were on my radar. Porsche 997.2 GT3 RS, okay? That car is gonna give you a very, very similar feel to this package right here. So that's one of them. Then I thought about Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale. Insane automobile. They're just very, very hard to find. Then I thought about Ferrari 430 Scuderia. Another amazing car, but those are both paddle shifting, but I would possibly venture into the route of converting it over to a gated 6. There's a company now in Texas that sells a conversion kit, about 30 grand, and you can kind of make any of those Ferraris into a gated 6. So that was, like I said, there's not a lot out there. I mean, you can't really go into the General Motors market because of the engine, single cam pushrod motors, they just don't have the emotion that this particular engine has, or even the cars like the Ferraris that I just mentioned, and the Porsches. So like I said, there's not a lot out there. If you were to sell your Shelby GT350 or 350R, what are you gonna replace it with? That's what it is. If you want another high performance car that's gonna kind of give you the same level of excitement, there aren't too many options out there. And that's what a lot of people that I've been talking to recently, they sold their 350s and they bought other cars thinking that they were gonna get a similar experience from a BMW M2 CS, a BMW M8, the new Corvette, Z51 3LT, a couple of guys bought those. And I tell people, these cars are not even in the same category. They really aren't. Because, this car really caters to the driver. Somebody that wants to hold on to the wheel, shift the gears, and hold on for its life because the car's gonna throw you all over the place because of the huge, footprint that it has. But it's the sound. You can hear the sound in the audio. You can hear it in my videos. I mean, this car is just incredible. There's no other car in the world that you're gonna get, that's gonna give you what this car is gonna give you, and especially for the money. So, when the 350s came on the market, they were hot. Everybody wanted them. All the car reviewers were gassing these cars up and saying how awesome they were, and they are. And every dealer was charging $10,000, $15,000 over sticker. And there's a reason for that. Now, Dodge and General Motors, they try to follow that same route with, the ZL1 1LEs and the Dodge Demons and all of that. And those cars totally fell on their face as far as values and where they are right now. Nobody really wants them, unfortunately. But everybody still wants a GT350 or a 350R. And there's very good reason for that. So I'm gonna finish my drive right now. I'm just on some local back roads a little north of where I live and having some fun with the car, get away from some of this congestion. And I want to tell you guys, explain to you, and I'm going to show you guys some comps, because the numbers that I'm talking about today as far as the values, these are real numbers. These cars are trading in the 80s, 90s, and over $100,000 right now. Absolutely insane. But I predicted it. I predicted it 2 years ago. I mentioned it in a bunch of my videos. But the reason why we're seeing such a high return on investment right now is because of the prior 2020 shit show of destroying the world economies and manufacturing crises and everything else. And I think people are at a different state right now as far as what they want to do with their purchasing power. And a lot of people made a lot of money during the 2020 by leveraging, you know, certain things that they do, especially people that have hedged against the market. You can make a lot of money on your return. I mean, the risk is really high, but the returns are substantial. And I think a lot of people have done that too, as far as buying up real estate and other, you know, liquid assets. So a lot of people now, they want to get back into these cars, or they want to get into it for the first time, and you guys are going to have to pay. That's just what it is. You guys are going to have to pay to play. And that's why, like, I've been going back and forth about selling this car. And I had a bunch of guys lowball me, like, yeah, I'll give you 65 grand. And I'm like, I would have to be nuts. I'd have to be drunk or have rocks in my head to try to unload this car and give it away in like a fire sale scenario. Because I know that if I sell this car, I would be lucky if I could buy a standard 350, nicely spec'd in the options I want with my low miles or even brand new for 65 to 70 right now. So that's just where it's at. And I mean, this car, if you don't have access to a track, like I said, tracks for me are a couple of hours away, and I just don't have the time for that. And for me, it's just a little bit too risky to be whipping my body around with all the injuries that I have in my cervical and my lower back. But, you know, if you go on some back roads, you know, during the morning hours, and you can really enjoy this car, you really appreciate what this car is all about. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The brakes, the turning, the feedback that you're getting from the front end, even though it's an electric power steering system, you get really, really good feedback. Stop. All right, guys, so I'm going to pull over in a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the values, and we'll commence this video in a little while. All right, guys, I'm back. I just pulled over. Been in the GT350R for almost 3 hours today, and let me tell you, the roads in New York beat the absolute living crap out of you, especially if you got some cervical or lower lumbar issues. So I used a tank and a half of gas today, just had some fun. So after I shot that video clip earlier, I took the car up to Bear Mountain, looped back around, came down on 9, and now I just pulled over to take a little bit of a stretch or a breather. So, like I said, the reason for this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about what's going on with the values of these particular cars. Now, I talked about it in a couple of my older videos on the Auto Fanatic YouTube channel, and you know, being that I watch the market, I collect cars, and I help a lot of my clients for many years, you know, manage and buy and sell cars, especially cars, I said that these cars are going to go through the roof in value in a couple of years. Now, in my older videos, I was predicting that the Shelby GT350s are going to go through the roof. I said in the future, we're going to see these cars going at auction, 100,000, 150,000. Now, I didn't say that was going to happen in 1 or 2 years. I was predicting over a 10-year or longer spread. Now, considering what's going on in the world, and like I said, everybody's been going through it, we're suffering from hyperinflation in the economy. This is the world economy, not just the US economy. So what that means is that there's an excessive amount of money out there right now. There's not enough supply of products. People are now overpaying for everything. So everything on the market that we consume, whether it's food, plywood, cars, tires, everything, because I'm in manufacturing, everything has gone through the roof. Some prices up to 50% higher based on hyperinflation because there's shortages going on everywhere. Now, automotive manufacturers have been suffering shortages for over a year. What does that mean? Cars like the C8 Corvette. Now, if you guys, I mentioned in another one of my videos, I sold my spot for the C8 Corvette because everything kept getting jerked around. I'm not going to wait 2.5 years for a base Z51 C8 Corvette. So what happened with that, I'll give you an example. The C8 Corvette, like a 3LT convertible, they only made about 3,700 in 2020. So that's a very low number. That's going to actually consider that car a low production number based on the factory being shut down and shortages. So watching the auctions, Mecum, Barrett-Jackson, RM, all these cars are going through the roof. So like a C8 Corvette that has an MSRP of like 88,000, you know, fully loaded, they're trading 120, 130, and a 3LT convertible just sold for $165,000. A white car, you know, fully loaded car is probably about a $90-something thousand MSRP. $165,000 somebody paid for it, which is absolutely insane. Whoever did that thinks that they're going to make some money on that car. They're not going to make any money on that car because they overpaid 2 times plus to get into a CA convertible. Because like I said, people right now, after this pandemic and what's going on, you know, people are anxious to get out there and buy and enjoy life again. So we have hyperinflation, we have low inventory, we have a lot of car manufacturers like this. Ford is discontinuing these models. And what does that mean? The demand goes higher. When the demand goes higher and there's excess of money in the market to be had, people are going to overpay for the car. Now, something that I want to make a very interesting point, because the 2014 Shelby GT500 that I showed on my channel a couple of weeks back, that car is for sale. And we're trying to sell that car for between $60,000 to $62,000, you know, because that's such a rare car, super awesome color combination. But what we're starting to realize, and what I'm starting to realize, is that the buyer for a 350 and an S197 GT500 are entirely different. What I mean by that is, when I started the Auto Fanatic channel 3 years ago, primarily a lot of my high-end clients, they have Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, some of them got Paganis. I deal with a lot of high-end car guys for almost 30 years in my profession. So a lot of guys went out, they bought the 350s, they bought the 350Rs, and then they're starting to complain about it. Oh, the interior sucks, it rattles, the noise. And then I started to like talk to these guys, and you know, these guys have cars, you know, $30 million worth of cars, and trying to be reasonable with someone that has that much excess when it comes to wealth and supercars and hypercars, they really want something that's a little bit more refined, and that's why this car for them may be not what they want. So when I started hearing all of this stuff, not only from a lot of my close clients, you know, all over the country and outside of the world, I said, you know what, I'm really tired of hearing people talking bad about this car and that it sucks and it does this and the fit and finish is terrible. Listen, we understand that, but you have to understand what this car is and what this car is going to give you for under $100,000. And that's what a lot of people really weren't understanding at the time. And that's why I said this car is so special, and there's never going to be anything like this produced by Ford ever again, based on the current trends where the governments are going to regulate everybody by 2030 to do everything by electric vehicles. So when I started the YouTube channel, I was like, I really wanted to put some content out there coming from my perspective. I'm not a journalist, but I'm an enthusiast. I've been in the performance industry for my entire adulthood. And like I said, this car is very special, and it caters to a very special, limited audience. Now, what's going on right now, you see these guys trading these cars, Bring a Trailer, Mecum, Barrett Jackson, eBay, Shelby GT350s and 350Rs. The mean price that these cars are going for is $72,000 to $88,000. That's all day, any day. Now, there are a lot of guys out there that have their cars listed for $140,000, $120,000. I just think that they're trying to fish for somebody that's going to try to just pull the trigger and buy them. Now, something that Ford, I definitely think Ford did something wrong on these cars. In 2020, which was the total year of hell for everybody, they decided to offer the 350s with the Heritage Edition, which was the Wimbledon White with Guardsman's Blue. Now, that really should have been done in 2015. The reason I say that is because in 2015, they did a limited production of the 350s and the 350Rs. I believe there was 37 Rs. If they did the Heritage Edition package exclusively on those 15 model year cars, those cars would be instant collectible no matter what. You know, that's just the way it would be. And I think what happened in 2020, if you look at the market, there are a ton of standard 350s and 350R Heritages always for sale. They've been for sale for like the last 14 months. And I think maybe they made too many of them. I don't really know, but I think a lot of people are trying to cash in on the Heritage Edition package and all it is, it's the last year, blah, blah, blah. But to be honest with you, I don't really see that the Heritage or the color of these cars is really going to make that much of a difference. I mean, we see Oxford white cars trading for $93,000. We see black cars going for $85,000. So I don't know. I mean, this car, Kona Blue, super rare, white stripes. I mean, it's super rare color combination. And I had guys lowball me like, oh, I'll give you 60 grand for it. I'm like I said in the beginning of the video, like I would have to have rocks in my head to ever consider selling this car for 60 grand. So what's going on now, there's no supply of cars. They're not making the car anymore. We're coming out of a pandemic year. We're suffering from hyperinflation in the entire economy. Everybody's going crazy. Everybody's antsy to get a new toy, spend some money. A lot of people now, especially a lot of investment bankers that I deal with, they used to work in New York City and stuff. Now they're all working remotely. They're all working from home. They're all working from their homes in the Hamptons. And a lot of those people don't have to have that overhead anymore in New York City. Now they have some money to play with. They want to just, you know, spend it on some cars, spend it on some tangible assets they could have some fun with. And that's kind of another driving force of why these cars are trading for higher numbers now. Now, like I said, we're trying to sell the S197 GT500. And I said in that video a couple of weeks back that they really cater to two entirely different audiences. Basically, a lot of guys that are buying these cars, they have Porsches, Ferraris, and other high-performance cars in their collection. And those guys have much more disposable income and wealth, which is also going to make them overpay for the car based on the current realistic market value. And that's what's going on Bring a Trailer all day long, and it's going on Mecum and all these freaking auction sites. People are just anxious to get their hands on one of these cars. You know, the hype is real. It has not died off in over 5 years, and that's because the car is so damn freaking special. So what's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you guys this now, if you guys have a GT350 and you love it and you bought it at the right time, keep enjoying it. Don't go out there and try to throw it on eBay for $120,000. You're going to make a fool of yourself by doing so, because nobody's going to bite at that number. But if you're in the position where you bought the 350 and you just honestly feel that this just wasn't the right car for you for no matter what reason, now is definitely the time to sell it, because I think you're going to get absolute top market value going forward. But like I said, don't think it's going to happen, you know, 2 to 3 years from now. What's going to happen is this is going to plateau and the numbers are going to start stabilizing and settling. Now, as soon as my prediction is that these cars are going to be trading 100,000 plus to 150,000, I think that's going to happen by 2030. So it's about another 9 years from now, when everything is going to be regulated by the governments and EVs and EPA, and everything's going to want to go to hybrid. Then the chances of any manufacturer coming out with something like this ever again is going to be zero. I don't care. It's just never going to happen again. And then depending on the cost of fossil fuels, we don't really know. I mean, you never know. They could actually outlaw gasoline cars to begin with by 2020, 25 or 2030 or whatever. We don't even know what's going to go on. But when it gets to that point where gasoline cars and cars like this are like literally going to be extinct like dinosaurs, that's when I think these cars are going to trade between 100 to 150,000, but only for the best ones, the rarest color combos, the lowest mileage, the greatest spec, and also the best condition as well. So if you have one of these cars and you beat the crap out of it and it's got a lot of miles and the paint job is trashed, you know, don't think you're going to hold on to it for 10 years and, you know, make a quick flip on that, because it's just not going to happen. I think people that collect cars and spend the money on these cars, or any collector car, they know what they're buying. They're not stupid. They're very educated. They do their research, and they're only going to want to buy and overspend to get the best of the best. And that's pretty much what it is. So my advice to you guys right now, if you guys are looking for a GT350 or a 350R, if you don't have to have the R, you could buy a standard 350, like a 2019 or 2020, if you want to get the latest and greatest generation with the updates of the motor and all the other stuff like that. You could probably get one for 65 to 75 all day long. Just go online and find your color and pick it out. Now, if you guys want the R, if you have to have the R, I'm just letting you know, if you see a deal out there, if the car is priced at $73,000 or above, and it's got below 2,000 miles, or some of these cars are sitting on the lots with a couple hundred miles, I'm going to tell you now, if you really think you're going to sit and wait a couple of months for those prices to go down, you're going to miss your opportunity to buy the car. I suggest you buy it immediately. Don't even hesitate. If you got to get, financing, secure the financing now, you pretty much could do it through JJ Best, and you could do it through even like Chase Auto Finance and Ally. If you guys call them up, you could probably do something like that. Also insurance, put the car on a collector car policy if you're going to be adding this to a current car collection. If you have Ferraris, Porsches, or other cars in your stable, definitely don't put it under Allstate. It's just going to cost you too much money depending on where you live. But I just think now, like a lot of clients of mine, they sold these cars, they regretted selling it. Now they're kicking themselves. They're trying to rebuy them. A lot of them went. They bought Porsches. They bought BMW M2s. They bought BMW M4s. And one of them bought a Nissan GTR. And like I talk to these guys on a regular basis, and they're all saying, man, I really regret selling my Shelby GT350. And I said to them, I told you, this is what's going to happen. Listen, a lot of people called me crazy in my video when I did it 2 years ago. They're like, oh, these cars are never going to go up in value. These cars are going to be going down to 30 grand. And I said, I'm telling you right now, when I see a Shelby GT350R selling for 30 grand, either the governments have outlawed gasoline cars and makes them illegal to own anymore, or something really crazy happened with the world economies or some world crisis that we've gone through. But like I said, the thing is, nobody was prepared for this 2020 pandemic, all right? It just flipped the switch, and totally dismantled the world economies, dismantled the automotive industry, dismantled manufacturing, and disrupted everyone's lives. So it just happened at a blink of an eye. Nobody saw it coming, and it happened. So what does that do? We have hyperinflation. Everybody's anxious. People want to get out there, start having some fun, and living life again and doing the normal things. And cars bring people enjoyment, okay? So specialty cars like this, what this car gives you, there's not many cars out there that are going to give you this, no matter what dollar value you put on it. And like I mentioned in my video, if you want to go get like a 997.2 GT3 RS, that's a much more analog car than the newer GT3s and GT3 RSs, not just because of the PDK and the manual discussion, but they just have these Porsches today. They're just so ultra refined. Everything is wrapped in leather and everything has nice carpeting and soundproofing and all that. And it's just a level of precision. But you know, you're talking about a $300,000 car, so you kind of expect that. But this car is raw, it's analog, it's rough around the edges, its build quality is totally crap compared to a lot of stuff you're gonna get today. But what this car delivers, nobody is gonna get a similar identical package as far as what it's going to give you as a driver and the ownership experience. So another thing too, I want to throw this out there in this video. I think it's time to schedule and organize a specific Shelby GT350 event. I also want to invite guys that have the GT500s as well. So if you guys are interested, you live in the New York tri-state or metro area, or if you're even further away and you're willing to drive, please send me an email with all your contact information. I'm thinking about doing something by the end of the summer or September. We'll do a road rally. We'll get maybe 50 or 100 guys together. We'll do a road rally and possibly do a full track day, maybe at Monticello Motor Club up in New York, which is an absolutely incredible track. But I need to throw some feelers out there now, and this is going to be the first mention of it, that if anybody out there is interested, contact me. I'm going to compile a list of people that are interested. I'm going to stay in touch with you in the next couple of months, and hopefully I could maybe organize and put something together for you guys, because these cars are awesome, and I think it will be great, you know, for me to connect with a lot of you guys that have been watching my content. I persuaded so many of you guys, thousands of guys that watch my channel, went out and saw my videos and bought this car, and they thank me and send me videos and photos, and I absolutely love it. So it'll be a great opportunity now, especially that the prices of the cars have gone up. The demand has gone through the roof. There's no supply. Now this car really has taken itself into a totally different category of specialty car. So I think there will be a great opportunity of Auto Fanatic, myself, and we get some guys together and we really put on a really cool event specifically for the GT350s, 350Rs, and even the new GT500s. I think it will be absolutely incredible to connect with you guys. So if you guys like this video, you guys are interested in doing something, please comment below. And also you could contact me anytime through the Auto Fanatic web store. We have a contact form on the website. You can send me an email direct. My emails are always in a lot of my videos. But like I said, if you got the car, you bought the car at the right time, hold on to it. If you're anxious to get out of it because you feel that the car is just too much car for you and it's just not really what you expected, maybe you want to go into like an Audi or a BMW, that's totally fine, because like I said, this car is not going to appeal to everybody. Then now is the time to sell it, and you're going to get your money back, and you might even make some money. But if you have the car and you think you're going to make a quick flip and make 60 grand on the car, don't kid yourself. It's not going to happen now. That'll probably happen in 9 years. I say 2030. That's my prediction. If this video is still active on YouTube and I'm still around doing this stuff, and YouTube is even still relevant at that time, I predict 2030. That's when these cars are going to shoot up with the intrinsic value between 100,000 and 150,000, and they're going to be even further rarer by that time, because how many people are going to race them, wreck them, burn them, crash them, whatever's going to happen. The cars end up in floods from natural disasters. I mean, it happens. You know, these cars, whatever they produced, the numbers are going to dwindle year by year by year, and that's what makes the car even more rare. So I don't advise anybody out there to go pay $30,000 over sticker for a C8 Corvette right now. That is just absolutely foolish. You're never going to get your money back. But if you find the Shelby that you like, listen, these cars were over sticker since they were new. Since 2016, these cars were $10,000 over sticker, even more. So when you see the car now priced at $75,000 or $85,000, don't think like you're getting a bad deal. You're actually, it's fair market value considering what's going on right now with hyperinflation. So thanks for watching this video. Get out there, buy the cars, enjoy the cars, don't hesitate. But like I said, if you have the car, you know, just keep enjoying it, keep taking care of it. And like I said, the trend is going to go upward from here. It's going to settle out probably in about a year or two. You'll start seeing the numbers settle out. and then it might plateau, and then by 2030, these things are just gonna go boom, right back up again. So that's just my overall prediction of the market. So hope you guys like this video. Stay tuned for more content, and also please contact me if you guys are interested in an Auto Fanatic Shelby GT350 event. We might maybe do it through a 2-day event on a weekend, do a road rally, and do a full track day. Comment below. I'd love to put that together maybe by September when the weather cools down. I would love to connect with anybody in the United States who's willing to drive to the upstate New York area or Connecticut, depending on where we do it. Let's get this thing going. Let's start talking about it now and get out there and buy a Shelby GT350 today.